Coming to you from the Deep South, this is the Blue Collar Leadership Podcast. High impact leadership is not reserved for leaders, and it has nothing to do with your position, title, or rank. However, it does have everything to do with your character. It's time to climb to the next level and beyond, personally and professionally. Now, let's start making it happen with your host, Mac Story.
Before we get started with today's episode, I want to take a few moments and give you a preview of what you're about to hear and also direct you to some other series that I already have completed on my podcast. So you're about to listen to Blue Collar Kaizen, Leading Lean and Lean Teams. You're listening to a 30-part series on that. Today's episode is just one of 30. It's specific to lean leaders, lean managers, anyone who's leading teams of people through process improvement and continuous improvement projects, Six Sigma, those kind of things. It's not about the tools and the methods and all that. It's about how to lead teams of people. So any leader, anybody at any level can get value from this. But I just want you to know that's what this series is about. It's about that specific book. So hope you enjoy it. But I have some other series that may interest you if this series does not. Got a lot of episodes already out there. But I have a book called Blue Collar Leadership, Leading from the Front Lines. It's all about how to become a high-impact individual, how to become a sought-after employee of choice, an employee that people want to hire and want to promote. That series, there's a 30-part series, starts at episode 65. I have another series on my book, Blue Collar Leadership and Supervision, Unleash Your Team's Potential. That book is for leaders, formal authority leaders who want to learn how to effectively lead people. That series, 30-part series, starts at episode 111. I have another series. It's an 11-part series on my book, 10 Foundational Elements of Intentional Transformation, How to Become Your Best Self. That series starts at episode 158. I have another series on my Blue Collar Leadership and Culture, the 5 components for building high-performance teams. That book is really for the top leader, and it's how do you become the sought-after employer of choice. It's a 30-part series. It begins at episode 179. My wife Rhea and I, this year in 2021, the theme for my podcast this year was all about change. That's why I'm doing this series on Blue Collar Kaizen, Leading Lean and Lean Teams, because it's all about leading teams through change. But we have a 15-part series we recorded together on our book, Change Happens, Leading Yourself and Others Through Change. That series starts at episode 211. And then this Blue Collar Kaizen, Leading Lean and Lean Teams series, the one you're about to listen to, one of the episodes of, it started at episode 230 and will be a 30-part series. So it's going to take a little while to finish it. Hope you find value in some of these series. Let's get to today's podcast. All right, folks, we made it up to chapter 29, part 29 of 30. Chapter 29 is titled The Key to Success. We've got this chapter and one more. We'll be done with this 30-part series. The subtitle of this chapter, again, the title is The Key to Success. Subtitle is High Impact Leaders Must Know the Way, Show the Way, and Go the Way. Kind of picked up that little slogan from John Maxwell many years ago. I twisted it up, changed it just slightly, but mainly I give him credit for it. But I say high impact leaders must know the way, show the way, and go the way. I want to open up with a quote from Albert Einstein. He says, try not to become a person of success, rather become a person of value. And I don't remember how long ago I read that quote. I put it in this book, especially because it fits right here. You got to know the way, show the way, and go the way as a high impact leader. It means you've got to become a person of value. You see, I used to be focused on success. That's what I wanted. I wanted fancy everything. I wanted fancy cars, fancy house, fancy boat. I wanted all this stuff. Some of the stuff I never got. because I changed what I wanted. Instead of wanting a lot of stuff, I decided I wanted to become valuable to people. That's when I sold a lot of my stuff. I had a Corvette Z06, long tube headers. Thing sounded like a NASCAR. Had a Ford Raptor truck. Rhea and I had she had a Hummer at the time. We sold all those vehicles, and I started driving a Nissan Sentra, and she started driving a Toyota Corolla. We had a nice house, pool, hot tub. You know, some people might not think it was nice. It was nice to me. It was nice to her. It was the nicest house we'd ever lived in at the time, and it meant a lot to us. We bought it new in 2003, and but we sold it in 2015. No more pool, no more hot tub, all that stuff's gone. Still don't have all that, but I don't want that anymore. But back then, that was what I wanted. I wanted to have fun. I wanted to have cool stuff, but I was focused on becoming successful. Now I've shifted focus, and I want to become significant, which means I want to help other people become successful. So hopefully they'll choose to become significant, and we start a loop. Help people become successful, then some of those people are going to help other people become successful, which is going to make them actually significant. We focus on success. I'm focused on me. We focus on significance. We're focused on we. So that's why I've been reading every day since 2008, trying to live and model this stuff that I'm teaching you. And again, I started doing it when I was a lean manufacturing consultant. That's why I wrote this book, Blue Collar Kaizen. I don't have any books on really leading lean, the tools, because I don't value that anymore. I value helping people learn how to unleash people's potential. Now, if you want to teach them, if you want to learn the tools and teach them the tools, I want you to do that. If you want to become a high impact lean leader, you've got to do that. But you won't become a high impact lean leader unless you also do all this stuff too. All this leadership development, first of yourself, then of others. You see, choosing to become the leader of leaders is a big responsibility. It's not hard to be a leader of somebody who don't have anything going on in their life. But if you want to become a leader of leaders, I'm talking about a leader of high impact leaders, meaning these people have a high degree of character. If you don't have a high degree of character, you're not going to have any influence with these people. It's not going to happen. They're looking for competency and character. You may have a lot of competency, but when it comes to high impact leaders who have a high degree of character, you ain't going to make it through the door with those folks unless you've got the same. So that's what I'm talking to you about, developing yourself. But then I want you to have the intent of growing and developing yourself so that you can help others grow and develop. You see, teaching leadership is different than teaching lean. Big difference. You can teach lean without a whole lot of character and be fairly effective at it. But you ain't going to teach leadership without very much character and be effective at it. It don't work like that. Not this kind of leadership. See, lean is a methodology for improving processes. Lean is filled with principles relative to process improvement. They apply anywhere if you understand the principle. If you only understand the practice, you'll say, oh, that won't work here. If you understand the principle, you'll know it works everywhere. So anyone who truly understands lean, they're always looking for the principle. Not the practice, the principle. But lean is a methodology for improving processes. Leadership is a way of being. Leadership, this kind of leadership is not about doing something different. It's about being someone different. You got to become a different person. That's what I've done in my life. I'm a completely different person than anybody who would believe who used to know me and hasn't been around me since I've changed. You know, anyone, especially I'd say before 2012. 2012 is when I really had a personal transformation, really on my character, really got serious about it. But again, I started reading and learning every day in 2008. But it took me 4 years of reading and studying every day to stop thinking about success. I was reading and studying to become more successful. But in 2012, I kind of transitioned. I kept reading and studying, but really to become more valuable. and helping other people become more successful. So I was reading and learning the same type stuff with a different intent. So if you're familiar with lean, you know that lean development helps people see process flaws. You might have heard people talk about putting on your lean glasses. That's one of the lean terms. They'll say, put your lean glasses on so you can see the waste. But what they mean is they got to teach you all the lean practices. They got to teach you what the wastes are in processes. And when you learn lean, figuratively speaking, you'll be able to put on lean glasses and see the waste, see the process flaws. But leadership development helps people see character flaws. Lean helps people see process flaws. Leadership development helps people see character flaws. And you see, it's kind of like you put on character glasses. You want to, compare it to lean. When you start learning about leadership, you start to see through a different lens, one that's related to character. And what people should do is look through that lens in the mirror so they can see what they need to improve on. But that ain't what most people do. Most people use this character lens to look out the window. They want to look out the window and see how everyone else is doing. They want to look at the boss. They want to look at the children. They want to look at the coworkers. They want to look at the spouse. They want to look at everybody but themselves. But you got to help people look at themselves. You've got to look at yourself. As you're listening and you're learning all this stuff, it ain't just about everybody else. Remember, it starts with me, but it ain't about me. What that means, I got to go through it too. But I'm going through it for you. Yes, I've gotten better. Sometimes people will say, what really drives you, Mac, to do all this? I want to be better for other people. I'm good for myself. I'm good to go if all I'm worried about is me. But I got a higher purpose these days. I want to help other people. So I got to get better. I got to get better for you. So high impact leaders are real. They're authentic. They're trustworthy people with high integrity. There's a lot of lean consultants. They don't have good integrity. They got terrible integrity. I used to be one of them. I got great results. And then I go out to the bar with some of the team members and act like an idiot. After we finished up a week, a highly successful lean event, I'd go act like an idiot at the bar. Or I go back home, act like an idiot on the weekend on my own time, tailgating or bar hopping around town. So I was authentic and I was real. Some degree I was trustworthy, but some degrees I wasn't trustworthy. But I didn't have a high degree of integrity. Anyone who had a high degree of character wouldn't want anything to do with me, the person I used to be. But there ain't a whole lot of people with a high degree of character. There needs to be more. I hope you become one of them. I'm working on becoming one of them. I'm going to always be working on becoming one of them. I don't ever think I'll be there. My competition is not the rest of the world. It's the man in the mirror. And I know that guy got a lot of room for improvement. So I hope when you look in the mirror, you understand you got a lot of room for improvement. It'll make you a much better leader. It'll make you more authentic, trustworthy, real, and you'll establish a high degree of character and integrity, which integrity is just a component of character. I ain't getting deep into that lesson. If you want to get deep into that, go check out my book, Defining Influence. Increasing your influence increases your options is the subtitle of that book. But Defining Influence will take you deep into learning all about the character and integrity, trustworthy, being authentic, all that type of stuff. So high impact leaders, lean leaders, will often intentionally follow low impact leaders to help them develop and to help give them confidence to lead. This is one of the things as I started learning it, and I always did it to some degree naturally, but the more I learned about it, I become more intentional about doing it. And sometimes people will be like, well, why don't you just tell them what to do? Or Why you waiting around for them? It's because I was following them. You see, a higher level leader, let's say on a scale of 1 to 10, an 8 level leader doesn't follow a 7 unless there's a reason. An 8 level leader doesn't follow a 5 or a 4 or a 3 unless there's a reason. 8s follow 8s, 9s, 10s. 8s don't follow anything less than 8 unless there's a reason. So I followed, let's say I was an 8. I followed 5s and 6s and 3s and 2s and every level because I was trying to grow and develop their confidence. So I would follow them. Sometimes they would stumble, sometimes they would fail, but they were learning. But just me simply following them gave them confidence. It helped them step up to a higher level because now they knew I'm following them. It ain't just about them anymore. Now it's about me. And if they like me and trust me and value me, they want to do well. So they put more into developing themselves or preparing themselves for whatever it is they're doing. And I'm following them. It may be that they're trying to lead a Kaizen event. And I'm in the room to support them and I'm following them. And they may be stumbling around, flopping all over the place, but I'm still following them. I'm not taking over. So be aware and be conscious of that you can help grow and develop leaders by lower impact leaders by following them. Teach them some stuff, grow and develop them, and then follow them on purpose. It's all about timing and intuition. I can't tell you when to do it, how to do it, why to do it. You got to figure that out. But I'm telling you, it's a principle that'll help you grow and develop leaders, to give them confidence. Lower level leaders, help lift them up. High impact leaders may or may not have a title or a high level position. If they do, they tend to see their position and title as a platform for growing and developing people. High impact leaders don't care about a title, but if they have a title, they're going to leverage it to grow and develop people, not to boss people around. They're going to leverage it to grow and develop people. That's what high impact leaders do with a position and a title and rank. Completely different than what low impact leaders do with it. So becoming a confident, high impact, lean leader of leaders will require you to become comfortable being uncomfortable. That's something you're going to have to do because you may be very uncomfortable trying to lead leaders. You may see that org chart and think all these people have all this power and all this recognition, whatever. I don't understand it. That's never bothered me. When I see an org chart, I see people's names. I don't see titles and positions and authority. And I don't think any more of somebody because they own an org chart than I do of somebody who's not on an org chart. I could care less about an org chart. When I go somewhere and I talk to the room, most of the time I don't even know what the people's positions and titles are because I don't go around asking. I ask what the name is. That's all I need to know. Besides that, they're people. That's the second thing I need to know, but I already know that one. So all I need to know is their names. A lot of times I'll be talking and I start talking about leadership and who's the leader, the boss. And sometimes I haven't met the boss and I don't even know where they're at in the room. And sometimes I'll ask, hey, is so-and-so actually in the room? And there they are. I've been talking to them just like they're a regular person because in my mind, they are. In their mind, they might not be, but they still are. Everybody's a person. You think you special, but you ain't special. You just a person. So if you need to work on you personally, see, as I'm wrapping up this series, I'm really kind of just talking about high impact leadership. That's what you got to be to execute on what's in this book. You got to be a high impact leader. You may need some powerful personal transformations. Like I needed it. I needed it bad. I didn't even know I needed it. But since you're listening to me, you may know you need it. Or maybe you're interested and not even aware that you need it, but you say, hey, baby, I don't know. I got a book for you. It's called The 10 Foundational Elements of Intentional Transformation. Subtitle, How to Become Your Best Self. That's a book that I wrote about my transformation. How did I actually think my way through personal transformation? I wrote that book to help other people find their way. It's full of principles on how to move from values to legacy. There's 10 foundational elements, steps. You can see it as a 10-layered pyramid if you want to. I don't illustrate it that way in the book. Maybe I should. That's the way I talk about it. But again, you may not need that book. But as a high impact leader, you may need to read that book so you can refer it to someone else later. I've shared with you before, I read a lot of books. They're really not for me, but I know they may be for somebody that I'm going to be leading or influencing one day. And so I read this book so I know what's in it so I can refer it to other people. I do that all the time. As a leader, you got to carry a heavy burden on your shoulders as a high impact leader. You got to grow and develop yourself at a high level so that you can help other people with things that you may not have issues with. As Dennis G. McLaughlin remarked, leadership isn't about your comfort. It's about your commitment. See, I know right now you're interested in high impact leadership or you wouldn't be listening. What I don't know is if you're committed to becoming a high impact leader. Being interested and being committed, two different things. Two completely different things. If you're committed, you got to go deep. Now, I know you're more committed than most people because you're actually listening to this podcast. That's commitment on one level. But reading, watching, listening, that's the easy stuff. Now, a lot of people don't do it. But it's easy to watch, listen, and read. But it's hard to go apply it in your life and get results. I know I've had to do it. I'm still doing it. There's something in life that the old Mac would love to get angry about every day. Multiple things. I'd like to just act like an idiot every day, but I don't do it. But I want to do it. I have to fight that battle. I'm probably going to fight it the rest of my life. But I don't value being an idiot any longer. I don't value getting angry. So most of the time I just get quiet. That's about the worst it gets is I get quiet. The best it gets is I don't get quiet, but I lead in a positive way, or I live my life in a positive way. I make a positive decision. But the worst thing is usually I just get quiet. That's not the best thing for anybody to do, but it's a lot better than doing something stupid. And sometimes that's all I can do is be quiet. So you can't be a high impact leader without rock solid credibility. Credibility is a must for trust. You can be a leader without rock solid credibility, but you won't be a high impact leader without rock solid credibility. I'm going to say it again. Credibility is a must for trust. There's a lot of people out there who respect their boss's position, but they don't respect the boss because they don't trust the boss. As a lean leader, you may not be anybody's boss, but you got to have a high degree of trust to be highly effective at leading teams of people through process improvement, because they don't have to do it. They can cause you a lot of problems. They can make you look like you don't have a clue. And if you can't get results, I'm telling you, you don't have a clue. But I'm trying to share with you the key component: personal growth, leadership development. So high impact leaders create the environment that will support the culture they intentionally create through modeling, training, and development. They accept the responsibility of high impact leadership. Will you? Will you accept that responsibility? I hope since you're listening, you have, but again, listening to this and becoming this is two different things. Kind of like you can listen to a lesson on how to fly a plane, but until you go fly a plane, you haven't flown a plane. You can listen to all kind of podcasts, YouTube videos, and attend all kind of conferences about leadership. But if you ain't ever led at a high level, you ain't a high impact leader. And I'm sharing with you where I learned 11,000 hours of walking into a new group of people every week for years, basically from 2005 to 2012, every week, a different team of people, a different mission, different set of personalities, different values, all that sort of stuff. And because I was living these principles, and I had a lot of this stuff naturally, even though I was flopping around in other areas of my life, leading the teams, I was pretty effective at it. But when I started reading in 2008, and I ain't never stopped yet, I started getting better and better and better and better at being a leader of people. Again, 2005 to 2012, logged 11,000 hours leading people through change. People who didn't want to change, people who didn't like me, people who don't like the boss, people who don't like being on the team. But I always got amazing results as a leader. But the team got the actual results. I was just the leader. All I was doing was unleashing people's potential, allowing them to thrive, and then give them credit. When I say I got results as being a leader. I didn't get results on the team. The team got the results for the team. All I was doing was leading. They were making it happen. So I'm going to leave you with a quote by Jim Collins. This is not Jimmy Collins. Jimmy Collins was the former president and COO of Chick-fil-A for 33 years. My friend and mentor since 2015. That's not the guy I'm talking about right here. This is Jim Collins. He wrote a book called Good to Great. A lot of people consider it a leadership book. I've read it. I think it's more about managing than it is leading. You decide. You get to decide what you want to think of it. There's a lot of good value in it. I'm sharing a quote with you right here from it. I'm just saying it's not a high impact leadership book like I talk about. It's got a lot of management in it. But if you are a high impact leader, you can read that book and understand where there's management components and where there's leadership components, and you can figure out the value out of it and figure out what you need to get from it. But a lot of people who don't know read that and think that's all 100% high impact leadership from cover to cover. And I'm here to tell you that ain't what it is from cover to cover. There's a lot of management of people in there, stuff I don't believe in, stuff I don't value whatsoever. But it's a valuable book. It depends on what you get out of it and what you make out of it. Anyway, Jim Collins said this. He understands leadership, but there's a lot of management in that leadership book. But he says true leadership only exists if people follow when they have the freedom not to. That right there tells me Jim Collins gets it. He understands what high impact leadership is. I'm just here to say there's a lot of management in that book. But this right here is some good stuff. True leadership only exists if people follow when they have the freedom not to. And again, one thing that makes that book Good to Great so good is there's a lot of people who are in a formal authority leadership position. They're on the org chart. They're never going to be a high impact leader. But they can read that Good to Great book and they can learn how to become a high impact manager of people. That's better than being a low impact manager of people. And management of things and processes is highly valuable. You need to be a high impact manager of things and processes. So that stuff that's in Good to Great is phenomenal. But again, there's some stuff that's kind of on the line of management of people, not leadership of people. And you have to understand leadership to understand what I'm talking about. But it's a great book. I highly recommend reading it. I just say understand it. But whether you're a manager of people or a leader of people, you can read that book, get a lot of value from it. You get better results. But it's not just full of high impact leadership principles that I talk about. But I read it. I got a lot of value from it. I recommend people to read it. I just give a little caveat, a little warning. You got to understand what you're reading. Make sure you don't call something leadership that ain't really leadership. All right. Got one more chapter coming up, chapter 30. Talk to you next time.
Make it happen or someone else will. It might as well be you. Are you serious about taking your career and your life to the next level and beyond? Check out Mac Story's Blue Collar Leadership Series books and others, now available on audio, along with paperback and ebooks at Amazon, iTunes, and Audible. Please visit bluecollarleadership.com to learn about Mac's books, programs, special offers, certifications, and more. Thank you for listening to the Blue Collar Leadership Podcast.